amazing Hawaiian Home Lands team. They're in place to help answer any questions that you guys may have. And then outside, you also probably noticed the tables that have been set up. And those are all of our developers and the individuals from within our community that are here to help answer questions about funding and financing and things of that nature. So the Department of Hawaiian Home Lands is here today, as we are all very excited to hear about, with a new opportunity, Project Leases. Project leases are, of course, this administration's take on undivided interest lease awards, last issued in the early 2000s. Project leases will connect waitlisters to a particular place or project and will be awarded before the development of a homestead community. This approach will allow Native Hawaiian beneficiaries the opportunity to transfer their lease to an approved successor who meets the 25% blood quantum criteria. This, yes, I heard somebody over here go, yes. As you can imagine, this represents an incredible development for all of those who are on the list and all future generations. But before we get into all of that, e pule kako, let's pule. And here to do that, Land Development Division Action Administrator, Kalani Franda. And if you don't mind, we will ask those of you who are here in audience to please silence your phones on either silence or vibrate. I promise to remind you before you leave to turn it back on so you can talk story with everyone later.
E pule kako. E ko mako makui loko kalani. Mahalo nui mako ia oe no ke ia la nani loa. He la piha I ka haoli a me ka mana olana. We gather in gratitude for this exciting time of orientation where our hearts are filled with anticipation for the journey ahead. We lift up in prayer the beneficiaries of this aina, those who will call Kailapa at Kauai High and the villages of Opua home. May these places be filled with warmth, joy, and abundance. May these communities thrive, grounded in aloha and strengthened by ohana. We also extend our mahalo to the developers who have dedicated themselves to preparing these lands, the service providers who have partnered with us to kako the lahui, and to the leaders who guide us. We pray blessings upon Chairman Kali Watson, Executive Assistant Richard Hoke, Deputy Katie Lambert, and the Hawaiian Homes Commissioners, and all of the staff who have worked tirelessly to ma'alama this vision and bring it to life. E ke akua shower us with your love, peace, and favor. May this orientation be filled with clarity and understanding as we embark on this new chapter. Bless each person present today. May their hands be strong, their minds sharp, and their hearts full of compassion as they serve our lahui. I ko aloha pauole, e mālama mai, e kia'i mai, a e alaka'i mai. Maka inoa o Yesu Kristo, ma ko e pule aku nei. Amen.
Mahalo nui a oe kalani. Welcome again to all of you who have gathered in this beautiful space. For those of you who are here in person, the Hilton Waikoloa Monarchy Room has more than enough room for all of you. So if you guys know anyone who's still outside, please invite them to come in, take a seat. A few general housekeeping rules for those of you who are here. Please make sure to get your parking validated. There is a table set up just outside the front doors of the Monarch Room. We want to make sure that you do so before you leave. Bathrooms are actually located on either side of these doors, so you can either head out to the left down the hallway, or you can make your way a little bit further down to the right, and then you're going to make a right and you'll find the bathrooms there. If you guys get lost at any time, please just flag down one of us and we'll be sure to point you in the right direction. At this time, we'd be remiss if we did not honor and give recognition to Prince Jonah Kuhio Kalaniana Ole, Keli'i Maka'ainana, the Citizen Prince. Born March 26, 1871, we're getting ready to celebrate his birthday, And with us through January 7th of 1922. The Hawaiian Homes Commission Act, passed in 1921, encompasses more than 200,000 acres of land across the Pai'aina to be used for the rehabilitation of our people. Homesteads, aina ho'opulapula, a kuleana held in high esteem by the Hawaiian Homes Commission and the Department of Hawaiian Homes Lands. Enacted over 100 years ago, the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act paved the way for nearly 10,000 homestead leases. That's nearly 10,000 of all of our collective ohana on our land. So mahalo nui, mahalo piha, Prince Kuhio. There is, of course, still so much to do, and so many of our ohana are still waiting for homestead. So here's someone who can tell us a little bit more about what is being done to help each and every one of our families achieve that goal. Next, it is with great privilege that I introduce Hawaiian Homes Commission Chair and Director of the Department of Hawaiian Home Lands, Kali Watson. Appointed by Governor Josh Green, Chair Watson was confirmed by the Hawaii State Senate 2 years ago in March of 2023. Chair Watson previously served as chairperson under the Cayetano administration, where he coordinated and developed over 3,100 residential lots on Hawaiian Homes lands. Since leaving the department in 1998, Chair Watson has focused his efforts on developing affordable housing for Hawaii's families. Today, Chair Watson spearheads the department's efforts to reduce the Hawaiian Home Lands waiting list by leveraging Act 279, the department's historic $600 million allocation by the Hawaii State Legislature in 2022. This orientation is just one example of his leadership that brings us one step closer to getting our ohana into homes and back onto the land. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chair Kali Watson.
Aloha mai kako. Thank you, Maleka, for being our MC today. I stand here, it is my honor, really, and privilege to stand before you today to welcome you all as we continue our journey to uplift and empower Native Hawaiian families with the awards of new residential homesteads. This is an orientation event or explanation of the process, as it involves not only learning about the different projects, but the process in which you actually make a selection and how that's done. There's gonna be a lot of information, and so it is complicated, or it can be very confusing. So that's why we're taking the time to really go into the details in advance of you actually making a decision as to whether you want to homestead in a particular place. This orientation will focus on two major projects, which is the Opua, as well as the Kalai'alapa Kauai High projects. But we'll also be showing you a whole bunch of other projects that we're doing on the Big Island. So if you should not be successful in getting an award for either of those projects, don't panic, because we do, and we'll be showing you all the other different projects, which I think you'll be pleasantly surprised as the locations, as well as the number of units that are going to be generated in the coming years. One of the things that we're doing here with these additional plan for Hawaii, the Big Island, it reflects a collective vision to restore and strengthen our lahui here on the island of Hawaii by building homes and taking people off the wait list, which is clearly a focus not only of this department and administration, but also as I guess an act by the legislature by providing us with significant funding, including the director of my boss, the governor, who brought me on specifically to do this. With my particular background in development, it was kind of a no-brainer for me to come in and use the $600 million and leverage it so that we can do more development than was anticipated. So I'm privileged to have that opportunity to assist in moving the program forward. For many of you, our waitlisters, I want to begin by acknowledging your patience and perseverance. It's been a long wait. I mean, I was standing in the back and an individual came up to me and he was telling me he'd been waiting for 40 years. And that really is a sad reflection of this program and its inability to really crank out the units, but we hope to change that. The Department of Hawaiian Home Lands recognizes the sacrifices you have made and the hope you hold for the future. These projects and the many more projects to come are not just about building homes. They're about rebuilding ancestral connections, creating opportunities, as well as empowering generations to thrive on the Aina. That was the vision of Prince Kuhio, the person best responsible for us being here today. He was a steadfast advocate for the betterment of the Native Hawaiian people. Despite the many challenges he faced during a time of tremendous upheaval, he persevered with unwavering dedication to his people's well-being. In 1921, Prince Kuhio's dream of providing land to Native Hawaiians became a reality with the passage of the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act. Prince Kuhio's vision was clear: to empower Native Hawaiians through land. Through the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act, he worked to return the lands to Native Hawaiians, fostering a sense of pride, identity, and belonging. We walk this path today guided by his vision. The Hawaiian Homes Commission Act has been serving Hawaiians since 1921 with a mission to manage the Hawaiian homelands, trust effectively, and to develop and deliver lands to Native Hawaiians. In the 100 years since its passage, the program has done very poorly, at least in my estimation. You know, that's about 100 units per year, which is really pretty dismal. But that can be explained based on the fact that it started off with, and it's still plagued by, poor lands that are isolated, hard to develop, and with no infrastructure, as well as a lack of funding. Today, we are changing this with an award of $600 million by the legislature under Act 279, and with the acquisition of new lands. Some of these lands today that you'll be looking at are new lands that we've acquired in very desirable areas, a lot easier to develop in a more cost-effective way. With this new funding, we're able to move forward with these developments, as well as a total of 29 other projects that will develop throughout the state. You see all these different projects, and I have to say it's an exciting time in the department in that we hope to hopefully award at a minimum 6,000 new homesteads. The developers will be sharing the details of their projects, the layouts, models, different options, and approaches to home ownership. And I must say, the developers that have stepped up are experienced and very knowledgeable in development, with Kalaniana Ole Development, as well as Ikaika Ohana. And so, I welcome the developers and their willingness to participate in this program. We also have lenders, and the department will be explaining the different loan products that you may qualify for. Now, one of the things that I have to point out is, historically, the department has taken an approach where you have to pre-qualify for a loan before you even get to stand at the table to select the homestead. We are now changing that. We are now looking at various other approaches whereby you don't have to pre-qualify for a loan. Besides the turnkey units, which you have to pre-qualify, we're also using low-income housing tax credits. It means whereby those that are in lower income are then able to find a path to home ownership, which they otherwise would never attain. And then in addition to that, we have several other categories working with Habitat for Humanity. If you're interested and willing to put in the sweat equity, That's one way you can approach getting the costs down, by gathering with your kids or other adults and help build your house. Then we also have the opportunity where if you just want a lot with the infrastructure in, you want to build your own house, the owner-builder approach, that also will be made available as an option. By using these 4 different options, we hope to never again bypass people on the wait list. That is something we should not be doing. Everybody on the wait list should have an opportunity. And today you will learn how you can take advantage of that. We'll have workshops, informational videos, handouts to explain the process, models, prices, loan products, and choices. Please remember that these are choices being presented. It's not mandatory that you choose it. If you don't particularly like the rent with option to purchase approach because of its owner's conditions, you can just say no. But one of the things that you have to do is that you have to, and this is on you, have to educate yourselves as to how these approaches work. Now, let me also say that this is a two-way street. We will make the presentations. We have the developers in place. We have the funding. We have the resources available. But on your side, you will have to do the things that are needed in order to attain the situation where you actually can receive an award. As an example, if you're going to be a turnkey person where you actually you qualify for a loan, and then you then can qualify to pay for the unit that you'll be receiving, there's certain requirements. You're going to have to meet with the lender. You're going to have to submit your income taxes and various other things that the lender requests. Now, if you don't do that, and it comes time to choose a particular lot, without having done that, we will bypass you. But that's on you. So please, please, one of the things that we're going to do is conduct workshops to let you know what you have to do, whether it's a LIHTC, rent with option to purchase, where you have to know that there are certain restrictions, such as you have to pay rent, you are limited to who can live in your unit because of the tax credit awards, as well as you have to be subject to annual inspections. Now, that's something you might not want. That's your choice. You don't have to take that option. So again, it's going to be a kind of a thing where you have to take on the responsibility of complying with a certain restriction. We will have all these different workshops and educational tools, as well as informational videos that you can access, so you can make an informed decision as to whether you want to proceed with this particular award. As we go through the orientation process today, let us remember the purpose that brings us together: to learn about Opua, to learn about Kauai and other projects. DHHL is committed to creating these vibrant communities that respect our past, serve the present, and build for your future. As you go through the process of qualifying for homestead, let each step be a symbol of your determination and commitment to getting a homestead for you and your ohana. Do not give up. Also, I'd ask you to spread the word. If you know other Native Hawaiian families that are on or could be on our wait list, please let them know, because we're building these for you. And so the only way we can build it and get people in the doors, as well as giving out homesteads, are if they come to us. But unless they know about our program, they will be bypassed. These projects represent more than expansion of physical spaces. It is a testament to our commitment to you. We aim to ensure that this process remains rooted in the values of laulima, or cooperation, pono, or justice, and aloha. Your voices have guided us to this point, and your continued input will be essential as we move forward. It is a learning process for us also, regarding what kind of situation we have regarding our wait list. Clearly, we have a lot more kupuna on our wait list than anything else, which is a reflection of how we have to approach our development. So we're doing that. We're making adjustments as we learn from you. Our kuleana to you is not taken lightly. With these projects, we are merely constructing homes. We're not merely constructing houses. but are nurturing communities that reflect our culture and our shared vision for a better tomorrow. We are working tirelessly to ensure that the infrastructure, design, and resources align with your needs and the aspirations of our beneficiaries. May the project you choose serve as a beacon of hope, illuminating the possibilities that come when we work together with respect for our land, our heritage, and our future. Mahalo to all who have contributed to this journey thus far, from our dedicated staff, developers, and financial partners, and to you, our ohana, who remind us every day why we do this work. As we advance, we ask you for your continued patience and trust. Together, we will make these homesteading communities that not only honor our past, but build a thriving future for our keiki and mo'opuna. To end, I would like to share a Hawaiian proverb, or olelo noeau, which I believe captures the essence of our gathering here today. A ohe hana nui, me ke a lui ai. No task is too big when done together by all. Let us work together and bring Kuhio's vision to reality, to life. If you persevere and stay the course, you or your family, you will get a homestead. I promise you that. Mahalo nui loa.
Well, that's a beautiful promise we can get behind, right? Mahalo nui, Chair Watson. At this time, we'd like to hear more from our Land Development Division. Now, the Land Development Division is responsible for developing Hawaiian homelands for homesteading purposes. These three branches are design and construction, the master plans community, and the housing projects. So please welcome Acting Administrator Kalani Franda.
Well, I like that other title I had the last time, Action Administrator. We are taking action. You know, it's exciting times, as Chair had mentioned. And this is a new approach where we're looking at many ways and opportunities to work with our beneficiaries so you can be able to get on the aina, be able to live in a hale. Next slide. So what is the purpose of the project leases? You know, and you'll see it over here. It's about, as you had heard from Mileka talk about, it's undivided interest parcel. So it's granting us undivided interest in this particular areas, these projects. It's not assigned to a specific lot yet, but what is the great thing about it? You've heard it before. You're gonna continue to hear it from us over and over again, and that is, as an applicant, you can only pass it on to a successor that's 50%. With this pala, you can pass it on to a successor that's 25%. Isn't that exciting? It is. Some of us, you know, they went broker our marriage, so we would marry another half Hawaiian, so we can have more half Hawaiians. But it's not always that lucky, yeah? And sometimes it's not that lucky, but we'll see. You know, the other one is preparation for home ownership. So it provides kind of that time to work with our service providers. Please visit them outside. They really want to be able to help you, help me. I'm actually on the list. I'm 29,001. I just didn't put my name on. So, and then me and then my son put it on. So we're excited to be on there. But there's a lot, you know, some of you guys have been waiting 30, 40 years. I hope I don't have to wait that long, but it's more of a motivator for us to really get things done. And so it helps us kind of get you ready, and also enables the planning readiness for future home construction. And that's what you're going to see in a little while. It's really allowing the developers to be able to program and build accordingly. So the kind of stuff that you're going to be able to qualify for, that's how they're going to build it. That's the amount of area and percentage that they'll build in that particular community. Next slide, please. In the back, we have some of our staff from Homestead Services, as well as within Homestead Services division, that can share with you about the different loan products. So there's a number of different loan products, a number of different lenders that we're partnering with. Go and visit them, ask some questions, also ask our service providers. They can help you navigate what that'll look like. Next slide. Now, in this particular section, I want to share with you guys, not to detract you from the two projects that we're going to be sharing about, but there's exciting things that are happening on the island of Hawaii, on the moku of Keawe, and we're doing a lot more projects, but I'm only going to focus on the west side for now. So as Chair had mentioned, over the past 100 years, we have 10,000 leases. What we are working on is about 6,000. That's 60% more of what we have. And we want to do it within the next 5 to 10 years. And so we also need your voice and advocating for some of our bills that we have before the legislature that are asking, hey, we need a little bit more money to help us move forward all of our projects. You will also hear Chair talk about, honestly, we need like 6 billion to be able to wipe out the list. But we're taking a little bit at a time. We're partnering with many different agencies. We're partnering with our counties, the various counties throughout the Pai'aina, working with other landowners, working with developers to move and accelerate this process. The 600 million allowed for us to be able to look at 29 projects throughout the Pai'aina that we can work on to completion. Next slide. So this is a picture of all of the different islands that we're working on. We're not just working on Oahu, just not working on Maui, just not working on Hawaii Island. We're working everywhere, even Lanai. We have 75 lots that are going on. We plan to wipe out that wait list and be able to accommodate that on Kauai, etc. Even to the point, and I'm excited to say this, we're trying to find places where we can put Hawaiians where they've never been before. And where we're in the process of working on getting 80 townhouse units on the marina of Hawaii Kai. Isn't that awesome? Man, you gotta love to put in those Hawaiians on the marina. And was at a really good price because it was working with Kamehameha schools. But you know what? We deserve to be on these islands. So we are working along with many different agencies to accomplish this. Next slide, please. So on the County of Hawaii, Act 279 was just 600 million. We have so much other ways of getting funding, whether it's federal funds, NAHASDA funds through the federal government, tribal funds, county funds, etc. We are just looking different ways to put it all together so we can finish and get these projects moving forward. So you're not having to wait another 15, 20, 30 years. So we have about 75 million and identified 7 projects throughout this island that we have that we're working on to build more infrastructure and site development. You guys know that sometimes it's not easy to get water and wastewater, so we got to go build it ourselves. We build it to county standards and we turn it over to them so they can operate it and maintain it. But it's our kuleana to actually go through and provide that infrastructure. One of the areas that we're working on right now, and then our developers share a little bit more of what they are working on both at Opua as well as Kailapa. But this is another area that they're working on as well, is Palamanui, right by Palamanui campus, by the college, which is right above the airport. We have about 80 single-family turnkey homes in a master plan community that we're working on. Very exciting times. Next slide, please. We also have 296 lots on a place that we just acquired in Honoka'a. So if you know where Tex Drive-In is, right above is King's Chapel. To the Waimea side, all the way down to the district park is what we just acquired. And we're planning to put on 296 lots there. We're also working right next to it. You see the eucalyptus trees. We're actually working with Kameme Schools on opening up some subsistence agricultural lands over there as well. I cannot say how excited we are to be able to stand here before you and share with you guys what is happening. There's so many synergy and people that want to help us. So let's take advantage of it. Let's go let the legislators know that, hey, you know what, the time is now. So we need our voices heard. A lot of different amenities that are there in Honokaa. And then next slide, please. Some of you guys who live in Lalomilo or in Waimea area, you guys know that we had 2 houses that have been sitting there for, I don't know, 15 years, I think. 15, 20 years, but it's been sitting there. Unfortunately, we had that environmental stuff go on, the ordinance, the UXOs. We finally got it cleared, got it approved. So we just finished the renovation of these houses. It's going to go back to talk to the next person on the wait list. Do you want to live in Lalomilo in one of these houses? So got 2 of these. We also have, next slide, please. We have about 5 lots that are empty. We finally, once again, got that clearance of UXO that allows for us to now start working on these lands. Before you turn this slide, so we have those 5 lots, and we're working on the infrastructure in the back of where the transfer station, you guys remember, get the area that we already did some infrastructure work, then we had to stop. Our plan is to do about 200, something 37, I think, lots on that side in the future. And it just requires us to do more and more on providing water and wastewater. So we're finding all of these different technologies and ways to do it more cost effectively, quality-wise, and be able to put our lahui, our beneficiaries on these aina. Next slide, please. So as we mentioned, we are working with the various landowners acquiring an area where they have wells right now. The wells have been, we've been talking with the Water Commission, and we just got approved by our commission to enter into a memorandum of agreement. That means the Pala Pala to work with the county. So we can actually, as we're building this, we can actually get advanced water credits so we can develop on our stuff right now instead of waiting to build all of the lines coming to this area. The county will lend us some of that water and access to their transmission lines so we can start right now. And so that is, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of talk story, a lot of massaging, lomi, but it's stuff, as I shared with you, that even the Department of Water from the county said, you know what? We helping each other so we can get Hawaiians on there, we can get affordable housing taken care of, and we can be able to work with the county on being able to provide infrastructure again to this side of the island. Next slide. So we're going to hone in on villages of Opua. I'm going to talk about just kind of the rent with option to purchase side, and then I'm going to have Patty Tonkayo, who's with Kalanianaole Development, come up and share what they're working on there as well as what they're going to plan to do in Kailapa. Some of you, I have a stalking story with you. Some of you guys actually live in these areas right now. And I don't see the developer here, but I'm going to share with you guys what they spend to do this. They find different ways, different monies, different tax credits to be able to provide some place that certain people can live in right now. And yes, there is kind of that requirement, that 15-year requirement. Next slide, please. The developers that are working on this particular area, we have another 32 that's going to be coming up right before summer, so right about April, May time that we're going to be coming, right? April? Okay, May. And developer is Blue. Ikaiko Hana is the owner developer. 3150 is a property manager. Next slide, please. It's a rent with option to purchase program. Whether you have the 30% income, 40% income, 60% area median income, and how you qualify for this. And once again, it does have that compliance period of 15 years. They already finished the 60 in phase 1, the 24 in phase 2. They have another 32 that's coming up and ready and available. Some of it is going to be ready for move-in, I think, end of May. Infrastructure costs, a lot of money over there, it's about 10 mil. And, as I was chatting with him, it's roughly about 1.2 million, I think he said, to be able to build one house. It's a lot of money. I don't think I can qualify for that. But what happens is now you have the chance to live in it, be able to malama it. And usually when you buy one house, in 15 years, what happens to the price? The thing appreciates. This one, you're paying the amount of the loan that's left. So it actually depreciates. And the opportunity for you to purchase something around high 200s, maybe low 300s, is a very good possibility. Next slide, please. So Village 4 renters, that's on the top side, 15-year rentals, et cetera. It's a slide that basically shares with you guys the program that they're working on. Once again, exciting times. Next slide. And they have workshops that are going to be taking place when they go through and actually award these lots or offer these lots for you to stay in, to live in the actual house itself that you choose. They'll have workshops that'll share more about the program, the process, and what it'll take to be able to live in these houses. And then the actual lot selection day is at the end of May. Next slide. With that, I'm going to turn to Patty and ask her to sprint up here. No, for her to come up, and then she'll share with you about what we're doing and partnering with them to be able to finish off Opua and these different villages. Mahalo for the opportunity to share with you guys the exciting things that are happening in West Hawaii.
Good morning, everyone. How about giving DHHL a round of applause? Woo! I mean, exciting, right? My name is Patty Kuhio, and I'm very honored to be with you today. I am a beneficiary. I've been on the list for almost 30 years too, so I know how all of you feel, but I was also brought up on homestead on Molokai. So I understand how important it is for us to get back on the land. And thank goodness for this administration that is allowing as many people as possible to get onto the land. So I named my company Kalani Ano Ole Development because I am 100% aligned with this administration. I am going to be working with any of you that want to work with me to get on the land. I do not care how much money you make. I'm going to find a way to help you get into a home because I believe in that. Okay, so you guys got to excuse because I had my own slides and I was practicing online last night and then I got a different set of slides. So I may stumble a little bit, so bear with me. Okay, so the project that I'm developing for is the villages of Opua. So villages 1, 2, 4, and 5. You guys already know where it is, right? So village 4, Hema, is the one that has infrastructure that is PAO. So it's 125 lots, and we are working with the current undivided lease interest people. So in a few months, we'll find out like who actually will want to participate in the programs that we have over there. And if there's any openings, If you guys select a award, then you guys can try for the HEMA project, Village 4. And then Village 5 is over there. Has 55 lots and it's scattered. Okay, next slide. Okay. Okay, so Village 2, where we're at right now is we are doing the environmental studies. Because this is state land, we have to do an environmental process that unfortunately takes a long time. But Village 2 will have approximately 200 lots. For Village 1, again, we have to do an environmental study for that. We have to look if there's endangered species. We have to look about the traffic and all of those things. And this is a state requirement. So that's also 200 lots. Now, from Act 279, the $600 million, it's partial funding. So we need your folks' help to try and get DHHL more money. And I actually brought a filmmaker with me today. He is the one who did I Am Mauna Kea with Jason Momoa. So he's gonna be outside and he's gonna wanna film you guys. So we need your help to say, we need more money. $600 million is not enough. We need more. That is state law and that's federal law, and we deserve infrastructure. So if you guys, when you go outside, try and look for him. He has, he's gonna be carrying a camera, and I would really appreciate you guys if you guys can talk to him and say your voice, and also if you can talk to your senator on your island. This is so important because the reason why it's taken so long for us to get on the land is because DHHL, no more money. Now, I know a lot of you guys say, we just want the land. I agree with you 100%, okay? I agree with you. But not everybody wants to do that. Carrying a 5-gallon bucket to your lot and making doodle in a bucket is not what we want to do, right? Because actually, back at home, I've seen our people live like that. So we need infrastructure, okay? So how we can get Villages 1 and Villages 2 financed, and you guys can get onto the land, please support. It's called HB 606. Okay. Next slide. Okay. Like I said, I'm going to help you get onto your land. And my team is, we're so blessed. I have a world-class team. They're experienced in finance, in construction, in law. And 2 of them are right there. It's Christian and Son, right over there. Christian, I met Christian, and I've admired his work maybe a couple years ago. He is a great planner and he is an expert financer. Okay, so that's how we're gonna do some of our programs here. We're gonna come up with new strategies. Son is a world-class architect. He helped to build the tallest building in the world. And he used to do 30,000 units a year. So this is the kind of caliber that I have on my team to implement all of those things over there. Turnkey homes, lease with the option to purchase, starter homes, and I'm also gonna do owner builder, self-help, and Habitat for Humanity. We're gonna do it all. Okay, next slide. Okay, so this is the village for Hema that I was talking about, the 125 units. Okay, next slide. Okay. Next slide. Okay, this is the Kauai High lots, the ocean lots. 22 single family. You guys want to get your cameras and take pictures of this? This is a beautiful subdivision and I'm really excited for you guys. Okay. So by this summer, we're going to have our models. We're going to have 3 models available. And designing it has been something that I think about every day, trying to create the most beautiful product for you guys. When we came over to the Big Island, I actually drove down to Kona and I looked for all the multi-million-dollar homes and I took pictures of it. Then I sent it to Son. I said, Son, I want our houses to look like this. I did. And another person that is on my team is one of the top designers in the state. Her name is Jaylene Bell. You guys know who that is? She is the person who owns NOHO. So we are gonna make sure that when we build our home, it's gonna be contemporary Hawaiian, okay? It's not gonna look like your regular home. It's gonna look like $1 million home. We're gonna make sure it's beautiful. It's gonna have Hawaiian touches to it. That it's gonna be when you're gonna come home to your subdivision, it's gonna be like the Kahala or the Beverly Hills. It's not gonna be like, you know, the low class. We're gonna make it as beautiful as we can. So where do we go from here? You guys need to take the opportunity to pick that lease. Okay, take it. And then when you guys got your lease, then you can go to my website and fill out an assessment form. And we're gonna work with you for your situation. Because I know everybody's situation is different. In I don't know what your moment in your life is right now. Sometimes, you know, you may have just gotten married or you're 7 years old and you want to give your lease to your kids. Everybody is different. And I understand that because I know how it feels when you get your award and you're at a certain place at your life, right? So I want to work with you. So after you get your lease, go to my website. There's going to be an assessment form, not too much, but enough to understand your situation. And then we're gonna talk story, and then we're gonna help you determine how we're gonna get you on your land as soon as possible. And thank you.
Wonderful, mahalo nui. With information on successorship and lease transfers, the Homestead Services Division is here to help explain how they're involved in the direct servicing of homestead leases and applicants for homestead leases. Its 3 branches are the District Operations Branch, which provides direct services to lessees and applicants on a statewide basis through its 6 district offices of East Hawaii in Hilo, West Hawaii in Waimea, Maui, Molokai, Oahu, and Kauai. Then there's also the Homestead Applications branch, and lastly, the Loan Services branch. So here to share more, Homestead Services Division Administrator, Juan Garcia.
I'm so tall, if I stand behind a podium, you might not see me, so I'm gonna use this mic. Again, my name is Juan, and here with me this morning is Kana'i. We are gonna talk about a very important topic with regards to successorship. Say successorship. What is successorship? Successorship is the means of transferring your interests as an applicant or lessee upon your death. So we want to preserve your interests so that it goes to the individual that you designate. And there's qualifying relationship and blood quantum that is required in order to succeed. What we'll do is we'll go ahead with the rights of an applicant to designate a successor for that application right. And Kana'i will go over that process.
Thanks, Juan. I think it's probably one of the more important things that we have to talk about is successorship, both for applications and for leases. Although both are similar, they're not exactly the same. Okay, one of the things, for instance, when you talk about successorship to applications, is it can only be passed to someone else upon the passing of the applicant. So that's the only way the application will change hands is if the applicant passes away. Okay, so up here there are only certain relatives that will qualify to succeed to your application, and that's of course a spouse, child, grandchild, or a sibling, parent, widow or widower of a child, widow or widower of a brother, sister, niece, or nephew. Okay, so there's none of this, oh, this is my third cousin, 7 times removed. Yeah, that ain't happening. Okay, so this is what's up here, but pay attention to this particular list because the same list will come up when we talk about leases, yeah? But keep in mind that for every application, you can only have one successor, okay? Like for leases in contrast, Juan will get to this later. For leases, you can have, name all your kids, for instance, to succeed to your lease. But in application, just remember, to succeed to an application, you have to be 18 years of age, you have to be 50%, and it only passes, upon death, yeah? So what happens if I don't name a successor to my application? Well, what happens is when we determine that you don't have a successor on file, what we'll do is we'll publish your name in the paper, for once during the year. That's going to be pretty much during November of the year. We'll publish your name in the paper. It'll ask for any qualified relatives to come forward to request to be named successor. And these are pretty much the newspapers, we put those in. And just keep in mind, once we place that notice in the paper, people who are going to request to be named successor, they have basically 6 months to come forward to put in that claim. And just remember, if you do not put in a claim for that published application, you will be forever barred from claiming the application. But the best way to keep it from going there is to name a successor. So even if you're not sure who your successor is, because, hey, let's face it, you become an applicant, then 15 years later, who did I name, right? So yeah, that becomes an issue. But if you guys are not sure, get in touch with the department, go to your nearest district office, you can call them up. You know, if you don't have a copy of that, we can send you a copy of the latest successorship in your file. It's better to know than not to know. Because what happens if no one comes forward to claim your application? It gets canceled. Can you imagine waiting 20, 30 years on the wait list? You don't name someone, no one comes forward, that application gets canceled. And you think about all the years, right? You guys sat on that wait list. So now nobody benefits. Yeah, the question is, oh, when did we start asking for people to name successors on the wait list? I'm kind of a noob at the department. I've only been here for 20 years. Okay, so Juan's been here for about a bajillion years, and during his time, it's always been you were able to name a successor. Hmm. Well, for those of you guys, like Auntie, if you want to name a successor, we have forms in the back over there. Yeah, Michelle's waving her hand over there. You guys can go to the back over there. We have forms where you guys can name successors to your applications.
Yeah, and again, we apologize for you not knowing that information. Yeah, and I'm glad that we're here today to explain to you the importance of naming a successorship. So for those of you who have not yet filed a designation, contact your nearest district office, and we will do that with you. So again, it's as Kanai indicated, it's your kuleana to designate a successor to your application, right? Yeah, so we can talk to you on the side after the presentation. But again, it's making it your choice as to who that successor will be. Now, for the department to process that successorship, we must receive confirmation of death. And that is by way of the death certificate. The death certificate delivered to the department will trigger the process for us to look at the file and see if a designation was filed prior to death. We can, and yeah, we'll go to the rear later, to the back. Yeah. Yeah, I apologize, Auntie. We must get through this program. So that's successorship with regards to applications. And these, again, are the qualified successors, yeah, on the board. And they must be 18 years of age and 50%. As stated earlier, the beauty of receiving a project lease is that you'll be able to designate a successor that is at least 25% Hawaiian. And on the screen are the relatives listed that need only be 25%. Again, your spouse, child, grandchild, and your siblings. The other relatives must be 50% Hawaiian. Unlike the successorship of an applicant, your choice of a successor to a lease need not be 18 years of age. So they can be less than 18 years. Just like applications, if you're a lessee and you fail to file a designation of successor prior to death, the department must also go through the public notice process. And we usually do that twice a year, in June and December of each year. I want to highlight when a qualified successor to that lease must submit that claim to that lease. You must do that within 120 days of the first publication. If you fail to do that, you come in on the 121st day, we will not accept that claim. So it's important to do it timely. Next slide, please. Successor to application right and leases. You know, Kanai and I have seen many instances where family gets into disagreements because the person that is a successor is not the person that they expected it to be. So we encourage you to have a discussion at the dinner table and openly discuss your choice as a successor to your application right or your lease. We highly suggest that you do that as soon as possible. If you haven't done so, make an appointment with the appropriate district office. But it's very important, like we said, we can't stress it enough that you file one. And you have the right to change it whenever you want to. Any other points you want to make, Kanai?
I think just a thought that with leases, when you name a successor, there's theoretically no limit on the number of successors you can name. So if you have 5 kids, you can name all 5. If you have 8 kids, you could name all 8. If you have 16, well, you know where that's going, right? But although you could name all 8 of your kids, would you want to? Because sometimes, Juan and I, we see this all the time in district operations. Somebody has 5 kids, they name all 5 kids to the lease, and then only 1 kid pays. And that causes serious hard feelings. So, you may want to think about that. And like Juan was saying, you can change your successor, anytime you want, because it's your lease, it's your application. You can make that change whenever. And we always laugh about this at these meetings, but some people literally come in and change their successor depending on which kid they fought with that week. Serious. I don't like Kalani anymore. I like the other one, right? So, yeah, believe it or not, it happens.
And owning a home, there's a lot of responsibilities, including financial. So you need to think about who can take on those responsibilities. If someone is not working or does not have the financial income to prepare for repairs that need to be done to the home, pay for the mortgage payments, you want to be able to preserve your legacy. After waiting all these years, you don't want that lease to be canceled and the generations to follow lose that opportunity. So you want to think about who is that individual or individuals that will be responsible to take on the heavy burden of owning a home. It's not easy owning a home. There's lots of responsibilities, keeping up the property, the home itself, doing the necessary repairs. And you want, like I said, you want to preserve that legacy for the next generation. All right, as far as transfers of death, that's successorship. As a lessee, you can also transfer that interest while you're alive. Unlike applications, you have to make before you transfer that interest. But at holding a lease, you can transfer that interest after you receive that lease, almost immediately. Okay, so also, again, you can transfer that interest to a 25% spouse, child, grandchild, and sibling. As Kanai mentioned, successorship, you can name multiple kids. With the transfer of a leasehold interest while you're alive, you can also do that. But there's pros and cons with holding a lease interest with multiple co-lessees. So everybody's situation is different. So you need to think about that selection of transferring your interests to multiple individuals. If you've got any other questions that pertain to you specifically, we'll be in the back all day. So we welcome you, come talk to us, and we will try to guide you to that circumstances that you have. Again, mahalo. You receive an applause for like what Chairman says, for your perseverance. This journey, hopefully for some of you, is coming towards the end part. But the work is not done. There's a lot of preparing that you need to do. Yeah? Don't go jumping off a plane, go skydive. Yeah? Take care of yourself, stay healthy. Malama pono. Aloha.
Okay, yeah, that seems to be the portion of the presentation that tends to get the most questions. So as we mentioned, please do not forget, we have so much support in place to help guide you through this process. All of those amazing DHHL representatives and employees and team and staff, they're here to help guide you through this. And we definitely want to make sure that nobody leaves here with any unanswered questions about successorship, because we didn't get this far to only get this far, right? So we want to make sure that everyone's pathway to eventual home ownership and being placed back on the AINA is protected so that your legacy can stay secure. So please, please go check in before you leave if you have any additional questions about successorship. In the meantime, the Native American Housing Assistance, or NAHASDA, and again, they are set up through the Native American Housing Assistance and Self-Determination Act of 1996, helps to provide housing assistance through a block grant program from the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD. Native Hawaiians were added to NAHASDA in 2000. DHHL is the designated recipient of the Native Hawaiian Housing Block Grant. You may have heard it referred to as NHHBG. So to join us this morning now with more information, please welcome Annie A'arona.
Ai aloha kako o an A'arona ko'inoa. E kalamai, I'm just getting over a cold, so if it's a little bit difficult to understand me, we do have a table in the back that you can come and talk story with any questions that you may have. But as Malika said, we are the Native American Housing Assistance and Self-Determination Act that was passed by Congress in 1996 and amended in 2000 to add the Native Hawaiians. DHHL was named the designated recipient of the Native Hawaiian Block Grant, also known as NHHBG, that is administered by HUD. Funding can be used for lot development, homeowner financing, housing counseling, and other housing services. Program requirements are based on total household income at or below 80% of the area median income, based on household size and county. House size will be dependent on the household number. Submission of all required income and financial documents to determine income eligibility is the first step to move ahead with NAHASDA financing, as well as compliance with all environmental requirements, and home counseling is also necessary. There is an affordability restriction, and insurance coverage, both homeowners and hurricane, is required along with flood if it is applicable to your lot. This family right here is the Smith Ellis Ohana. Their ohana of 6 became homeowners in Pi'i Lani Maikekai in Anahola, Kauai. Their construction started in April 2024, and they received their keys on December 19th, 2024. Their home is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,280 square feet of living area on a lot that is the size of 10,289 square feet. Destiny received her lot through a transfer from her father, Henry, who was on the wait list since 1991. Their mortgage payment for the next 30 years is fixed at $1,350 a month. The second ohana that we helped was Auntie Charlene Cummings. She is also a new homeowner as of December 19th in Pi'i Lani Maikekai in Anahola, living right across the street from the Smith Ellis Ohana. Auntie has a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,021 square feet home on a lot size that's 10,613 square feet, which was completed in 8 months. Auntie has been on the wait list since 1996, and her monthly payments for the next 30 years is fixed at $1,200. NAHASDA does also have a professional service agreement with the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement, also known as CNHA. They do have a table outside if you want further information to provide kupuna rental subsidy for those that are 62 years and older that are currently on the wait list, or can be an undivided wait lister as well that meet the 80% area median income requirement. However, you cannot be receiving any other rental subsidy. There are HUD requirements, and housing counseling is required as well. So again, you can please see the staff outside. They do have a table if you have any questions. Okay, and we also are located in the back as well. Jen and I are here to answer your questions on behalf of NAHASDA as well. Mahalo.
Okay, Ohana, here's what we all have been looking forward to. Project Lease selection. So this is the opportunity for sure to get out your pens and pads so you can take notes. And as a reminder, we are recording this. It will be uploaded to the DHHL YouTube page. So for those of you who are joining us on Zoom, no need worry about requesting to record. We got you covered. And for those of you here who are not typing or writing fast enough, no need worry. We got you covered as well. You can be able to watch this later. The Housing Project Branch stands as the pivotal entity within DHHL, entrusted with the critical and crucial task of facilitating residential, agricultural, and pastoral lot offers. So please join me in welcoming Housing Manager Michelle Hitzman.
Good morning. Thank you all for, sorry, calamai. Thank you all for kind of hanging in there with us this morning. I know we've been through a lot of information at this point. There's a lot to process, right? We've talked about our new approach to development. We had our developer, Kalaniana Ole Development, here and shared with you all their plans for developing the homes. HSD was here talking about successorship and applications. NAHASDA shared information. So again, there was a lot that we've already gone over. But what I want to do is I want to kind of bring you guys back now and kind of go over again Why are you here? Yeah, what offer are you here for? So I'm gonna go over again the offer. What is being offered here today? So it's a project lease offer, right? For Opua Villages 1 and 2, as well as Kauai High, Kailapa. What is a project lease? Again, a project lease, that is a paper lease for an undivided interest for an area or a subdivision. The benefits, it'll allow you to immediately designate a 25% successor. And you can also transfer that lease immediately to a 25% successor. So that's one of the biggest benefits, right, of having a paper lease. And then it provides you the time, again, to get financially qualified, to be ready to then take on that responsibility of owning a home, as well as maintaining that home. So what we are not doing at this selection is you're not going to be selecting a specific lot or a home, right? All you're going to decide between are these two areas. Are you interested in Kauai High, or are you interested in Opua Villages 1 and 2? So and to share with you, and I believe you had, Kalanianaole had the map up of Kauai High. It is a scattered lots area, so there are limited lots there. Kauai High, there will be 22 project leases available. So again, that one is a little less. Opua will have approximately 370 project leases available. So what are the offer requirements? I know a lot of you are familiar with, right? We offer turnkey, so you have to go to a bank and get pre-qualified for a loan. For the project lease, the only thing you need to do is just let us know you're interested, right? So we have the response forms in the back. You may have received it, or you did receive it in the mail, right? It was that purple paper. And all it said is, are you interested or not? All you need to do is say, yes, you're interested by the deadline, right? So you need to have it in our office or postmarked by March 21st. And at that point, we will then provide you with an invitation to the lot selection. So again, the offer requirements, submit your interested form by March 21st. Okay, next, please. So the selection process, once you meet those offer requirements, what happens next? We're going to be sending out selection invitation letters. The lot selection, or excuse me, the project selection meeting is scheduled for April 12th. It'll start probably at 9 o'clock. It'll be an all-day event because we're looking to sign leases that day. So you may be here for a few hours. And it'll be here again at the Hilton Waikoloa. I'm not sure if we're in the same room, but we'll have all that information on your invitation letter. And again, this is by invitation only, because again, you must submit your interested response form to now get invited to the project selection meeting. Yes. So yes and no, let me answer that. So if we have an overwhelming, because we did invite approximately 4,800 people, that is how many letters we sent out, right? It was 4,800. So the first session, we invited probably about 2,400 people. And to this first session, another 2,400 the second. So if by chance we get an overwhelming amount, let's say we get about 1,000 people that's interested in this project, we have about 400 leases between the two areas to issue. So to invite the 1,000 individuals may very well be, I don't want to say a waste of time, but maybe 1,000 might not have the opportunity to select that day. It does. It does go according to application. So the selection process, right? When we go through the list, it is all based on ranked. So of all those that submitted their interested form, what we do now is we put them on a ranked list based on your date of application. So, and I think for that, we wouldn't normally go into this, but so for example, if you are 2,000 on the Hawaii Island wait list, and you're thinking, okay, there's only 400 leases that's going to be issued. There's no way I'm going to have a chance. Well, that's not true, because it only depends on the amount of applicants that submitted their interested forms, right? You could be 2,000 on the list, but you may be 200 on the interested rank list. That makes sense, yeah, okay. So the selection process, right? So you get a letter, and orientation meeting is not mandatory, right? This is an informational meeting. So we're really here to provide you with information to help you make the decision, right? To decide if this is the opportunity that you want to take advantage of. However, the selection meeting is mandatory. Yeah, you must be present to select a lot. If you're unable to attend, what you can do is you can sign a proxy form. So you can give your proxy to another individual, but that proxy must be notarized. And your proxy must bring the original form with them to the selection meeting. Right now, you guys are mailing, walking in, emailing the response form. Again, the proxy, have them hang on to that original form, bring it with them to the selection meeting. At that point in time, if your name is called, we will then take that form from them. They will also need to bring a valid government ID. As I mentioned, we are anticipating signing leases that day. So when your name is called selection, you will go into another room, you will sign a lease. So you will need to have a valid government ID. And this is for the applicants only. If you are a proxy, you can select a lot and we'll schedule a lease signing at another date and time. But we'll have more information about that day in the invitation letter. One thing to remember is late arrivals, right? We want to be sure that you're here on time when it's the lot selection, because if your name is called and you're not at the event, you may be able to select, but that's only if there's any project leases available after we go through the list. So arrive early, hang out, have your breakfast, and that's the main thing, be on time. Okay, next, please. So again, lease signing. As I mentioned, we are anticipating signing leases that day, but we'll have more information on the requirements, like what to bring. Again, if you're a proxy, we'll have more information in the invitation letter, so please be on the lookout for that. We are planning to send that out probably the week. So the response forms are due on the 21st. The following week, midweek, we'll probably start sending them out. Next, please. So this is just kind of an overview of what the steps, the process is from offer letter orientation to actual recording of the lease, right? So today, March 15th, you're here at the orientation meeting, you're gaining information. The next step would be to then submit your response form on or by March 21st. You will then be invited to the project selection meeting, which is April 12th. And that day you'll select the project if your name is called, and you will sign your 99-year lease. After you sign, it's still not fully executed yet. So I just want you guys to understand that April 12th, although you're signing, there is still a process we need to go through to then get your lease recorded, right? So in May, we'll put your name on the Hawaiian Homes Commission agenda for approval of the lease award. Then we'll need to obtain our AG's signature, the Attorney General's signature, then our chairperson's signature. And then at that point, we'll record the lease. So we're probably anticipating getting these leases recorded, I would say sometime to mid to late June, right? So once you're a lessee, we will mail you copies of the fully executed lease. Once you're a lessee, then you can visit the Homestead Services and start working on your designation of successorship. You can then, if you're looking to transfer your lease, you can do it at that time. Next, please. So financial assessments. I believe Patty Tenkayo kind of touched base on financial assessments. Again, the only requirement to move on to the selection meeting and have an opportunity to get a lease is to submit that offer form. However, once you get the lease, right? Once you obtain the lease, you are now a lessee. We are mandating that you contact one of the DHHL contracted service providers and do a financial assessment within 60 days of that lease recording. So when we mail out the lease to you all, the fully executed, we will also provide you with information as to who our DHL contracted service providers are. And again, a reminder that you must visit them and do a financial assessment within 60 days. And again, the purpose of doing the financial assessment is to give that information to our developers. So they can now take a look at that spread, right? Take a look at our lessee's financial ability and kind of customize our development towards our lessees, right? We're moving away from building homes and then having to find the lessees, the qualified lessees that can now purchase these homes. We're flipping that script in that we're obtaining our lessees. Now we want to build towards what you all can afford. And I think Patty again kind of reiterated that over and over again, that they will be building towards what our families can afford. Next, please. So if after you go through this orientation meeting, right, you've talked to the staff, you've talked to the developer, and you've heard that there's other areas on the west side of Hawaii that we're looking to develop in the future. If you're not interested in this particular offer, that's fine. There's more in the future. You can just state you're not interested on that response form, right? So you can say you're not interested, submit the form. You can choose not to do anything, right? If you just don't submit anything to us, it's an automatic deferral. So again, if you're not interested, just submit that form. You'll remain on the Hawaii Island wait list at your originative application. So by deferring, that will not affect your spot on the list. Yep. You will not get moved down to the bottom. And again, you may be eligible for future offers. Next, please. So we're just going to reiterate those dates, right? Important dates. Please submit your interested response form by or postmarked by March 21st. That will allow you to be invited to the project selection meeting, which is scheduled for April 12th. I know that's not a whole lot of time. We're talking about a month, right? So from today, 1 week from today that your response forms are due, and then I think that's maybe about another 3 weeks for the project selection meeting. Okay, next, please. So here's our contact information. I've got Moana Freitas and Carol Takeuchi in the back at the DHL table. They can answer any questions that you may have. We also have Erin McCabe and Shanti Gomes that should you call our contact number, 808-730-0311. You may speak to one of these staff members. And then we also have an email address, dhhl.housing@hawaii.gov. So you can, if you have any questions after you leave today, you can give us a call, email, phone call. Thank you very much. Oh, and I did miss someone. I apologize. You go back to the slide one. So I also Kawi Stevens. I'm sorry, Kawi. She just joined our group from our contact center division. I apologize for missing out. So she's also back there that she can assist you all with questions. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. You want to go with the partners?
Okay, I know you guys have a lot of information floating around in your minds and in your brains and probably questions. And so at this time, again, we want to invite and encourage everyone to participate in the open house portion of this morning's orientation. Each of the tables, as we mentioned, just behind you guys who are seated here in Waikoloa in the alcove, represent DHHL staff and team members who are on hand to answer specifics that you may have about the process. And just outside the doors of this Monarch Ballroom are also some of the financiers that we talk to, those who can help with funding, and the developers. So mahalo nui loa to all of you who are here today. As a reminder, this is going to be posted on the DHHL YouTube page, so you'll have the opportunity to rewatch this presentation. Do not forget to establish your successor before you leave. As you heard, that's really a vital, important part of this process to ensure your spot on the list and your legacy is protected. And if you need anything else, please don't hesitate to flag us down and let us know. from a very proud product of Hawaiian Homestead and a still current tenant. We know how important the return back to our aina is and the opportunity to be in these spaces, and we want to make this possible for each and every one of you. So mahalo nui, a hui ho.